The Colorado Tier 7 American battleship receives an upgrade to her turret caliber over the Tier 6 New Mexico. The bigger 406mm turrets will allow the Colorado to compete with higher tier enemies that she is sure to encounter. Both the Colorado and the Japanese Nagato have a 1.7 rounds per minute reload, or approximately 35.3 seconds. The Japanese Nagato has a slight lead in high explosive damage with its shells, while the American battleship has a similarly marginal advantage in shell dispersion. The nearly 4-kilometer range difference can be used to the Nagato's advantage, although shots from that range are inaccurate at best. Let's begin by fast-forwarding to the action, as the Colorado aims and fires a salvo at the enemy Pensacola cruiser. The cruiser's first shot sets the Colorado on fire, and they are also able to avoid my return fire. After their next shells shatter against the Colorado, dealing moderate damage, I put the crew to work putting out the fire and repairing the shell damage. Firing back, a single shell penetrates the Pensacola for 13,420 damage, or nearly 40% of the ship's entire health. An enemy destroyer, one of 4 of them on their team, breaks cover by firing his weapons as he leaves the smoke cloud. Continuing to take damage from multiple enemy sources, the Colorado turns towards her enemies to reduce her potential profile. The damage control team struggle to undo all the damage as she is continuously under fire. Attempting to learn from past mistakes, I choose to fire at the enemy Pensacola cruiser, a much easier to hit target than the enemy destroyer. We both exchange gunfire, and the Colorado is once again set on fire, with over a minute and a half left on the repair skill. The Colorado's secondary batteries cause critical damage to the enemy destroyer as he closes in for a torpedo spread. The Pensacola and I continue to exchange gunfire, his salvo getting the better hits causing moderate damage, reigniting the fires, and destroying multiple secondary gun batteries on the Colorado. Seeing the enemy destroyer turning away gives me a hint that torpedoes are probably coming as well. I turn and take sustained incoming damage, causing a forward gun turret to explode, instantly reducing the Colorado's damage output by about 25%. Burning, critically injured, and under enemy attack from multiple simultaneous directions, the Colorado battleship turns and lines up on the enemy Pensacola cruiser. Hoping that he has gotten lazy in his maneuvering, I aim and fire. The first salvo falls short, dealing only trivial damage. I adjust and fire the remaining 2 turrets, a single 16-inch shell plowing through the Pensacola for over 11,000 damage. Just moments later, the Colorado succumbs to the fire and sinks. This was my first battle in the Colorado battleship, and although the battle was quick, she made an impression with her heavy-hitting artillery and her resilience. I notice immediately that the enemy team has not only more ships, but tier 9s as well. It appears that I'm outgunned, outranged, and so it's best that I stay close to my team to support as well as be supported. Continuing to compare the Japanese and American battleships, we can see the significant health advantage that the Nagato has. The Nagato is also faster than the Colorado in a straight line, and interestingly, it has a rudder shift time almost 20% faster than the Colorado. The American battleship has a much better turning radius, however, and nearly 3 times as many anti-aircraft defenses. Fast forwarding to the action, the Colorado surveys the battlefield, trying to gauge where to be most helpful. Noticing an enemy destroyer sitting in the cap circle, I fire a salvo which is able to hit him and reset. Zooming out to look for incoming fire, I toured towards it, reducing the damage that is taken. Straightening out and returning the fire at my attackers, I deal only minor damage. Attempting to turn away from the incoming shells, I react way too late, and the Colorado takes a staggering hit and then bursts into flames. Using my damage control and repair abilities to put out the fire and begin repairing the most recent damage, the Colorado continues to fire at enemy ships in the cap circle. Taking aim, I am able to land a final response before the enemy battleship retreats behind the island. His shells crash against the hull, dealing moderate damage, however. When you consider the amount of incoming fire the Colorado has had to endure, she is remarkably healthy still. Turning to close the distance on the enemy armada, the Colorado takes aim at a battleship. Turning towards the incoming shells, the Colorado is nearly unharmed. Four of the 8 shells hit the target, but no critical areas are damaged. His next salvo is right on target, dealing light damage and setting the Colorado on fire yet again. Glancing down at my repair skills, I notice over 40 seconds on both of them, and I ignore the fires for now, unable to do anything about them anyway. Highlighting the relative pinpoint accuracy of the Colorado's 406mm cannons, 8 of the next 8 armor-piercing shells plunge through the enemy battleship for over 13,000 damage. Still burning, with the enemy team ahead by kills, in a game where they hold the numbers advantage, I know I need to do something or we will get singled out and sunk one by one. I continue to head northwest, keeping the cap circle within my gun range. I use my damage repair to begin undoing recent battle damage. I do not use my repair skill to put the fire out, however, as its duration is almost over anyway. Struggling to decide which target to fire at, with 3 different ranges, headings, and speeds, I decide to pick a battleship and let the cannon sing. The shells fall literally 3/4 of a mile short. Awesome. Firing my guns, I look to the east and see an incoming enemy Iowa Tier 9 battleship. Making a quick decision, I decide to engage the strongest ship on the enemy team in the hopes of giving our team a chance of recovery. We are now down by 5 ships, surrounded, outnumbered, and the Colorado is about to engage an enemy ship 3 tiers higher at point-blank range. Realizing this is my opportunity to potentially turn the tide of battle, the Colorado swings around. The enemy Iowa is currently aiming at our ally, a Tier 6 Japanese Fuso battleship. Whether the Iowa is ignoring us, or just unaware is really irrelevant, as the Colorado aims at the gigantic American ship. In a stroke of good luck, the very first secondary battery shot from our Colorado sets the Iowa on fire. He turns rapidly, aiming and unloading his triple-barreled artillery into the Colorado at under 5 kilometers away. Heading straight at the Iowa battleship, my own ship is presenting a smaller target, and his first barrage deals only minor damage because of this. I return fire, and all 8 of my shells slam into the side of the Tier 9 Iowa, dealing nothing in damage. I continued to close the distance, trying to keep his turrets from finding an easy target. His incoming salvo does insignificant damage as well, and my damage control ability is almost ready to use again. With 3 seconds left on my reload, I swing the ship wide for a full broadside. My secondary battery set him on fire once again, and I let loose, the Colorado's shells unable to deal any real damage. I use my damage control ability and then contemplate my next moves. My contemplations are shattered when the Iowa's next salvo blasts through my ship, instantly dealing enough damage to remove any benefits I may have gained from my damage control. With the enemy capping our base, our fleet crumbling, and the immediately threat truthfully outclassing us, I decide to make a suicidal decision. Trying to close the distance as quickly as possible, the Colorado takes continuous fire from the Iowa's secondary batteries. Now completely committed, I turn into the enemy battleship, colliding with him, destroying both of us, effectively trading a Tier 7 ship for a Tier 9. Sure to be one of my more controversial games, I believe the decision to ram the enemy ship was the right one. Regardless of if my team was currently winning or losing, trading a Tier 7 half-dead battleship for a Tier 9 battleship would almost always be favorable. I then earned top experience on my team. Because I chose to ram the enemy Iowa, I also earned over 48,000 extra damage instantly. Thanks for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please click subscribe below.